Willow Creek Springs presents Healthy Living with your host, Joe Grumbine.
Well, hello and welcome to the Healthy Living Podcast. I'm your host, Joe Grumbine, and we've got a couple of special guests today. We have Natalie Novak and Webb, and these are the founder and co-founder of KPS Essentials. They have a regenerative skin care and body care company built around topical nutrient signaling, and they use organic food grade wild gathered botanicals. And if anybody knows me, they know I'm well into this sort of topic as well. I'm really interested in hearing all about it. Welcome, you guys.
Thanks for having us, Joe.
I'm looking forward to this. So I always like to start a show off with a new guest or guests, as the case is, and hear about your story. How did you get here? What brought you to the things that you do?
You want to go first? Let me go first.
I can start off if you'd like.
Sure.
So my whole family is basically a bunch of scientists and engineers.
Nice.
And so it's been fun. Like my friends would come over for dinner and afterwards they were like, "This is what you guys talk about."
Yeah, let's go over to the lab and play, right?
Yeah. So, I was an engineer for Boeing for almost 30 years.
Okay.
I not too far from where you are, basically in Huntington Beach,
Yeah.
Seal Beach area.
Right.
You know where the Seal Beach Naval Weapons Center is over there. It's real
Sure.
close. But I spent 27 years in development. So when we got out of development, I moved on to another development program. But most of my experience was in rockets and spacecraft.
All right.
So
Which
that
has
was
got a lot to do with your skin, right?
Yes. I took a real circuitous route to get here. My mother was a physiologist, and what happened, she did all sorts of stuff like mapping of the genome, plant drug research, and she worked as a director of development for big pharma for a little bit. She ended up leaving there and going into nutraceuticals, and she became semi-retired. She was still consulting in the industry. And she started an Arabian horse farm in Payson, Utah.
Whoa, once again, a complete opposite end of a spectrum. All right.
The even weirder thing is she started off as an opera singer. Then she became she got her master's of fine arts and was a designer and artist and painter. And then she got her physiology degree and zoology degree. So
wow, sounds like she could just do whatever she decided to. That's a pretty talented lady.
So what got me into skincare was she called me up one day and one of her horses had about a frisbee-sized piece of skin ripped off the right shoulder.
Ouch.
And gotten into an accident. And she called me up crying, saying that the vet had told her that animal had to be put down.
Oh, no.
And yeah, it was pretty devastating for her. And she asked if I would collaborate with her on getting that skin to come back.
Mm-hmm.
I said, absolutely. So, my background, she pulled me into plant drug research a long time ago.
Okay.
QC system real close to you.
Yeah.
And I did a little bit of they pulled me into they wanted my engineering perspective after my mom talked to me a lot about this mapping of the genome. But anyways, working on that horse, we got this. I asked her to give me all the nutrients the horse needed to heal, and I'll play around with the particle size to basically you're breaking down molecules and getting them away from crystallizing and those types of things, and getting them small enough to get into the body and be bioavailable. So all of a sudden, the efficacy went through the roof when I was getting my goal was to get close to a little bit under a nanometer, which is pretty small, and which is about the size of a glucose molecule.
All right.
And I actually was able to run a scanning electron beam microscope sample, and we were really close to it. And
it's good to have that technology available.
It was. So thank you for powers that be. I had some lots of good labs around me.
Nice.
And My mother said the skin grew back, the hair grew back. I asked my mom if she would send me pictures, and she did, and it looked like the before picture before this accident ever happened. And I said, please shave the skin down or shave the hair off. I want to see the skin. And
Yeah,
you
yeah.
could barely see.
Wow.
I mean, I was like, I had to really zoom in to see any kind of damage.
Wow.
And it was like, wow. So we got into equine and bovine skin care, so animal wound care for about 30 years,
Uh-huh.
or we took it into skin care for our bipeds like ourselves.
There you go.
We we did a lot of research to find out why we were able to do what we did.
Yeah.
Basically, a lot of nutrients and nutrient signaling. So some of the nutrients are just for skin health and then or body health, and then the nutrient signaling was really interesting.
Okay.
So then I took on that technology. We're adding a lot of nutrients for the skin in our
Right.
skincare. Plus, there's some signaling things that we can play around with, like bring volume back in the skin.
Uh-huh.
That's we you've got a mesenchymal stem cell in your skin that'll differentiate into adipose, right?
Right.
And as we get older, our skin gets thinner.
Right.
The reason why is because we're supposed to stay agile, right? If something's chasing you, it doesn't matter what you look like, right? You're going to
Exactly.
be so with nutrients, you can turn that back on so it'll differentiate to the adipose and it brings back volume. I played around with peptides for a long time until I realized the more we were processing them, the better off they were working. And I'm
Okay.
like, what would happen if we used aminos? And that really works incredibly well.
Nice.
The other interesting thing is we can just about triple anybody's hydration storage, which is really interesting. We shouldn't be able to do that. And what's happening is it's basically, I believe it's hyaluronic acid that's in skincare that is
Sure.
creating a false environment. And so we have nutrients to be able to signal glycosaminoglycans, which are hyaluronic acid and chondroitin sulfate in the skin. So that is why we're able to have that much storage. But
Nice.
yeah, it's kind of my path to get there.
Love it.
And I've had a lot of fun doing it. And I know you're in skincare too. So
Yeah, absolutely. No, I'm tracking with you. I love the route you've gone and the understanding of it. A lot of times, people stumble into something and they think they understand the mechanisms of it and they just go doing things and they don't necessarily realize sometimes you go backwards and you don't know why. And it sounds like you're following right along with not only the tools, but understanding from a cellular and molecular level why they're working.
yeah. Well, one of the reasons, like my mom was when she went back to school, we were both dyslexic. She was way worse than me. And when she went into her physiology degree, I could hear her downstairs reading out loud, trying to pronounce these words. And I'm like, I'm going to go read all of her books. I read her books to her. So I basically walked through her degree with her. And so, which was beneficial, plus the engineering rigor you basically, you have to understand what's going on before you fly.
Well, there's something about the engineer mind that you're a problem solver. And so you can apply that, the things that you talk about, strangely enough, or maybe not, I see through various guests. I've had some pretty brilliant people show up on the show, and dyslexia is not uncommon amongst brilliant people. I don't know why it is, but I know a lot of just friggin' amazing people, and they struggle to read for whatever, and that disconnect though somehow causes an understanding connect that is different. So I don't know. Good stuff. Hi, this is Joe Grumbine, and I wanted to share an update. The platform that hosts this podcast has made some changes to the subscriber settings, and we have a number of subscriber-only episodes that we offer to the supporters. And for a minimum of $3 a month, we can get you signed up. And if you're already signed up and you're having some kind of trouble locating these episodes in the other platforms, I would say maybe the best answer is to unsubscribe and then resubscribe. I'm sorry for the hassle. I don't have any way to make a change, but I'm very grateful for all the support. Thank you.
Yeah, I drag this around and I will till I'm dead, but I wouldn't trade my strengths for the weaknesses. So
I hear you. I hear you. I love it. And how about you, Natalie?
Well, I have a completely different.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm also from Southern California, and I worked at Nordstrom at South Coast Plaza. And I don't remember that North Ridge earthquake in '87, but
Oh yeah.
I was getting ready for work one morning and that earthquake happened. And so I went about an hour later, I went into work and I went up to the stock room to grab the products because I was selling high-end skincare.
Okay.
So when I went up to grab the products, I noticed one of them fell off the top shelf and I looked down and it broke. And I realized that as I was cleaning it up, not only did it break, but it ate through the carpet as well as the carpet padding and exposing a hole of cement literally that big. And I thought, how is this legal? What is this doing to my body?
Right.
I realized that the FDA had not regulated the Cosmetics Act since 1938.
Right.
And so it made me start thinking, like, what's really happening in the industry? So I got this book called the Cosmetic Ingredient Bible, and I started reading it.
I have that.
You do? Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Up here, and I still look at that. It's so fascinating to me, these products that they use in traditional skincare, and it makes no sense to me. And so, ironically, 2 months later, my grandmother got breast cancer, and her physician at the time, who was well beyond his time, he said, it could have been caused by all the hormone-mimicking chemicals in your cosmetics. So that was red flag number 2.
All right.
I had to become an esthetician because I needed to learn more about the skin. And then I needed to learn more about the body. So I became a massage therapist. I did essential oils and aromatherapy and understanding the connection there. And then fast forwarding several years later, here I am. I've now been married and moved to Michigan, and I've got 2 young kids living on this farm. I've got birds. I'm raising alpacas. I've got 75 chickens. I mean,
that's so cool.
It was fun. I was living the Martha Stewart lifestyle.
Yeah.
I wanted to paint her nails every day. And I thought, wait a second, Kiki, you just went out and collected the eggs. Now you've collected your vegetables for the day and you're going to paint your nails with this crap? No.
Yeah.
So I started researching, looking at Whole Foods and Amazon and trying to find something that was safe for her, but I couldn't find anything. This was back in 2007. And so she wanted to have birthday parties that were spa themed. And I just started creating things in my farm kitchen that I had grown, utilizing some of things, creating, body lotions and lip shimmers and different things like that. So I ended up creating a brand, launching it in Whole Foods. It was called Kiki Pure and Simple, named after her. Launched in Whole Foods at the end of 2009. And then I realized as I was pushing 50, I needed a product that was food grade organic, but it had the same kind of efficacy that you'd get from a plastic surgeon's office. And so I went on this quest to talk to different chemists to ask them to help me with this project. And they laughed at me. They all said, listen, lady, go find a new hobby because you can't do this the way you want to do it. And there was a burning desire in my soul that told me to keep going.
Sure you can, yeah.
And thankfully I met Ron in 2012 and he rocked my world. He was like the yes man. He was
I love it.
I could do everything I wanted. And I thought, is this for real? It's too good.
You didn't believe a thing I said at first. I just tell you that.
All right. You and I have a lot in common about on that level. I don't have all the degrees and stuff, but I definitely know you can do it.
Yeah. And so he, with his background, with his mom, I mean, he could do everything I wanted him to. And it was amazing because I had this vision, wanting to have a skincare line that had professional products but it also needed to have a retail side, but it also needed to be able to help people and had to have pure ingredients that were actually doing something for the body, adding
Right.
to the body, not taking away from the body, like so many products do. As
No,
you know.
it's so true. Yeah. Well, I mean, there's two things. Well, there's more than two things, but there's a lot of things. But number one, people often don't realize how important the skin is, not just, appearance wise, but it's an organ, and it passes things through and keeps things out at the same time. And so when you're putting things on, there's things that you want sometimes to help you keep things out, and sometimes you want to get things in, and those are completely different mechanisms. And then, you know, I think a lot of the tools that they have out today give the appearance of a thing happening, but they don't necessarily help. And so you can make something swell up, but does that make it better? Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. And so they've got, ingredients that cause things to plump, but it's not necessarily helping you for real. And so I like that you guys are looking at a holistic approach and an actually healthy approach to it. So sorry, I didn't mean to take.
No, you're right. You're right. We're
You.
like everything we made to save that horse was made out of food and wild gathered ingredients.
I
Okay.
love it.
Like what do we use for nutrients, right? I
Yeah,
mean, we don't go down to the local, chemist and say, give us something that I can sustain myself with, right?
right.
So, and then, I being that engineer guy and that aerospace engineer guy, and I've got three tech companies and we've got technology and all sorts of different things, but a lot of RF waveforms, and I'm using RF waveforms to break up ingredients, and I'm using
Sure.
sound, and I'm using thermal and all sorts of stuff and
Right,
long process to make things work. And
right.
I couldn't find all the ingredients that you would need in a. I kind of see like food was one of my ores, right? Like that's where I'm going to go mine ingredients,
All
and
right.
couldn't find some of the ingredients I wanted in this depleted world that we live in out
Yeah,
of
I can see
the
that.
food chain. And so I had to go with wild gathered ingredients
Yeah.
to go dig there, and that's kind of what solved a lot
You're
of the
both
problems.
in Michigan then, right?
We're
Yes.
both in Michigan, yeah.
And in Michigan, for people who don't know, there's still some forest and there's still it rains out there, and
Quite a
there's plants that actually grow. You go to Michigan, it's green. Yeah. So definitely it's a place where you could do that. Southern California, not so easy to wild gather things the way you might want to. So it's good where you're at.
I back we were just there not too long ago, but yeah, it's like if there's free land there, they're either looking to asphalt it or concrete it. So so it's kind of interesting to
You
see.
know, on a quickly side road, we have a 2.5 acre botanical garden here. And so I've created a place where things live. And so we grow a lot of our ingredients because I've created I put up 30 years ago a canopy of trees so that things can grow here. And
Nice.
so anyway, that's a quick side note, but
Oh, that's
definitely,
fun. I love
yeah.
hearing those of other founders of, the thought, the dream that they had and what they've created. And after 30 years, where are you now? I mean, that's really fascinating.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, there's been a lot of twists and turns, but definitely, we got a nonprofit that we actually do we call therapeutic horticulture. We have people come out here and heal themselves by just being in the garden.
Yeah,
I love that so much.
yeah. Tell them to
Yeah.
take their shoes off while they're doing it.
I'm sure they do.
I'd love to have you come out sometime. Anytime you're in Southern California, we'll give you a little.
Well, next time we'll come back, we'll have to
Yeah, that
get
would
your
be
number. We'll give you a call.
amazing.
Yeah, for sure. Well, tell me about, you've got these, what caused you, so you're figuring out that you got a wildcraft ingredients and you're starting to collect these ingredients and process them and beginning to make these products. How did you go from there, like, I mean, to, a functioning line of products?
That took a while. And
Yeah,
before I did, I wanted to understand exactly what I was doing to the
sure.
skin because sometimes you could stumble into something and you find a result, and then you find out you may not be able to replicate it, or those types of things. So
Right,
basically, my mother, the physiologist slash zoologist slash artist slash author there.
She's good at helping you solve problems.
Yeah, we sat down and really broke down the ingredients and the physiology of the skin, and it's kind of interesting. It took a long time. It was probably a good 15 years before we said, okay, let's productize this, and I'm
Nice.
ready.
Right.
But we literally, like, we took every one of our ingredients and ran it through a mass spec machine and
Sure.
tried to find out what we're actually dealing with.
Yeah.
And we started doing our own extractions to
Yeah.
see which one of these. I mean, it turns out there's multiple things in pretty much every plant that your skin can eat.
Exactly.
So there's a lot of folks out there in skincare land that are like, hey, you can go into, cosmetic ingredient websites, and they'll be like, I'll just throw out like pumpkin extract or something.
Sure.
You don't know what it is, right? So we identified everything we were doing, and then we're like, okay, well, let's see what happens when you concentrate it, and that's the efficacy really goes up. We could show you before and afters that would just blow your mind. But
hey. Cut it out. Sorry.
Got a dog or something?
My yellow lab sitting here being real quiet until the other dog comes in.
Oh yeah.
Oh, he's been really good. We got one over here too. So
okay. All right. Well, she's usually good, but she gets a little jealous when the other dog comes to try to take her love.
But yeah, that was kind of the process. And then one day Natalie asked me if I could do something about cellulite.
Okay.
And I'm like, I have no idea. So it took me to dig through the root cause of cellulite, and what it really is. It's fascia, bunch of proteins. And I figured out a way to go after the proteins, and which was kind of interesting. There's a protein in that protein mix called fibronectin that which I didn't know what somebody was going to call it. As human beings like to name everything.
Right.
The fibronectin is something that I could get the body to relax. And once basically all the fibers on a protein is kind of like the fibers in a rope or a yarn or a string. Fibronectin holds them together like a cable. And when I take that fibronectin and relax it, I can get it to slide.
Nice.
And once I get it to slide, it's kind of like having a balloon with a string on either side. You blow up the balloon, you're going to have a dent on either side, which is, to me, that's kind of the cellulite thing.
Right.
So I was able to relax that. And then it turns out after a bunch of study there, we're finding out that we can help with lymphatic drainage and a whole bunch of things. So if you think about just body health, your body is constantly detoxifying, right? Your cells are when your cells work, they detoxify.
Right.
And they go into this interstitial world between cells and the lymphatic system and your cardiovascular system. And there's all this fascia in there. And if that fascia is clogging up that area, when we open up that fascia, now it's draining in addition to the detoxifying, because it's you could detoxify a cell and toxify your body at the same time, it turns out.
Right.
And when you look at skin health and just body health, there's a lot of folks right now, and I've had conversations with a lot of doctors that use our stuff, and they're like, why do you think there's all this fascia restriction in the body? And I said, I think it's the toxic environment we're in and lack of nutrition that we're dealing with. But
a combination of all that dead foods we're eating and lack of moving around, and then all the stuff that we're being subjected to, breathing and drinking, and it's all a mess.
Oh yeah. And then, I don't think it's going to get any better either.
Not in our lifetime. Yeah.
No, we've gone too far one way to bring it back.
And it's, it's like, hey, Roundup's not working enough. Let's throw DDT.
Jeez.
Right?
Don't even get me started there. Well,
Yeah.
I normally we slow the conversation down, but I want to go a little deeper because I think we got a lot more to talk about. If you're cool, we can go a little longer.
Anywhere you want to go. Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah, no, I'd like to hear. Probably we're going to have to come back and revisit some of this because you guys are really into some stuff that I really would like to explore a lot more. But I'd like to hear about as the company came out and the products and how they're helping people. We were talking earlier when you first came on about, your reason for doing this. And obviously we got a horse involved, and that was, a long time ago. Tell me a little bit about, without necessarily going deep into it, about, the types of products that you brought out and who they've helped and how they've helped them.
Oh, boy. Okay. So, first of all, the reason we're called Kindness Power Skincare is because this company and all three of my tech companies were created to give.
Okay.
And, I mean, I was in the garage of my old boss at Boeing, and we were filling up his garage with food, and I'm like, hey, we should stop doing this. And we ended up productizing stuff, but so we're there to give. But the stuff that we're doing right now, if you think about, lack of nutrients, dehydration, and a whole bunch of other things that our bodies are going through, things like eczema, psoriasis, melia, hyperpigmentation,
scarring, you name it.
Yeah, it's
Right,
weird.
right.
So breaking up, I can get rid of a scar that's over a year old. We can get rid of it typically in around a month.
Nice.
And the other cool thing is you use this body sculptor stuff. You can loosen the fascia underneath that, and a lot of times there's adhesions underneath that in fascia underneath that scar, right? So we're helping a lot of people with scarring. There are some chronic conditions that are really interesting, like a fibromyalgia, which is fascia that's restricted, and that can cause, it's a chronic thing that can cause pain 24/7, 365.
Right.
One application of that is typically relief within a half an hour, and it lasts. And then you can do this daily and you can get out of that issue, which is really interesting. We've had people with, like, one of our first trials of eczema, there was a woman with a 42-year problem with eczema. And she was terrified to come in here because everything she's ever put on her skin was burned.
Right.
And she ended up coming in eventually. And long story short on that, basically we got rid of that eczema in under an hour.
Whoa. Wow.
She emailed us the next day and just like, my skin it's no longer tight. It's hydrated. It's all these different things, all these symptoms went away. And she came in the next day and told us she quit her job and she's going to come to work for us because she was
Wow.
she was in sales to sell like high-end shears for people that cut hair, right?
Wow. Yeah, eczema is a tough one, and most of the prescriptions out there, they talk about, a month, 6 weeks or longer before their product even starts to work. And I put giant air quotes on that.
Yeah, we can like show the picture of the hand. There was a gentleman that was in advertising, and I went to shake his hand and he says, careful.
Wow.
And so he had these bandages on his hand, and I just barely shook his hand, very, very nice. And
be real careful with that one. Yeah.
And Natalie starts putting our body sculptor on his hand at
the Renew face cream.
I'm sorry, the Renew face cream.
Yeah.
And so at breakfast, he's doing this, and he says, I haven't been able to do this in 7 years.
Yeah, he kept opening those hands.
And then afterwards, he went to shake my hand, and he just gorilla gripped my hand.
Wow.
He says, I haven't been able to do that in 7 years.
Wow. That's amazing.
And you saw that 7 days, that was only 7 days to go from there to there on just one product, the Renew face cream.
Yeah. That's unbelievable.
Yeah, there was a woman that she had a prosthetic nose because of cancer, and then she had a cadaver nose. And
Okay.
we got rid of all of her scars and her wounds from that cancer. And and that's crazy. How long is that one? Do you know?
Yeah, this took about 4 months for the
But still,
scarring.
that's unbelievable that you could even do that. You could barely
Yeah.
see anything when you're done.
Mhm.
And it
Unbelievable.
maybe when we're off this thing, I'll tell you another story about how we helped her with some other stuff because
All right.
someone's going to shoot me in the back of the head if I tell you. But she was really prone to cancer, and we helped her in some other ways.
Nice.
But yeah, I really want to be this like Robin Hood company where we can sell to people who can afford it, so we can afford to help people that can't.
I love that.
And because it shouldn't be a class differentiator what your
I
skin.
hear you.
I mean, yeah.
That's fantastic. So tell me about the company as it is today. How many products do you guys have out?
We probably have 37 products.
Okay. And where do people find them?
They find them mainly at functional med doctors, high-end, hotels and high-end spas, med spas.
And we
And
do
then,
our website also.
yeah, kpsessentials.com.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like
And
in your neck of the woods, the Marriott in Dana Point with that red roof and stuff.
yeah, I know it. Yeah.
If you go down the 405 and you're in that area at all I'm guessing you're Ortega Highway-ish. If
Yeah,
you
yeah, yeah. I'm the other side of the Ortega. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, they've got our products there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah,
So where do you see the company going? I mean, obviously you guys have gotten yourself established. You're in some, premium spots. Where do you see this headed? What's your next step?
well, it seems like the future of us is, you know, Natalie kept telling me forever, you're talking over everybody's head and no one understands anything you're saying.
I hear you.
And I literally I didn't realize that. And
You
I
speak a
didn't
very
know.
specific language. Yeah, not everybody
Yeah.
tracks along.
And we we happened to be at this weird like functional forum thing that a bunch of doctors were at, and I was not expecting anything from it. I was just learning. And the woman running it said, "Would everybody stand up and talk about what you do?" And they finally got to me, which I was the last person. I didn't think they were going to even ask me.
Yeah.
And I said, "Well, I basically developed rockets and spacecraft for 30 years, and now I'm doing transdermal nutrients."
Yeah.
And they're like, "What?" They said, so I'm like, "Oh, somebody understood what I said."
Yeah, somebody cut
And
that.
they said, "Will you speak at one of these things?" And I
Nice.
said, and I go, "Okay." So we had they had another functional forum, and I was the first speaker, and there was a doctor after me that spoke, and after I spoke, he got up there and he looks at the room with a bunch of doctors and he said, "Would it be okay with this group if I don't talk and we hear more from Ron?"
Whoa, nice.
I was shocked. I had no expectation of that whatsoever. And basically, of the 10 or so people that were there, did any of them not use our stuff now?
The only one out of that group.
So yeah, so basically when we'd go to these skincare trade shows and I
Uh-huh.
could talk to 10 people and I might if I'm lucky, get one.
Oh yeah. Well,
And I
that's just
talked
the
to,
nature of the beast anyways.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
for
think there
sure.
were 10 or how many were there about? It was about 10, let's say. But
Okay.
10 to 12. But we did there's only one person that didn't use our stuff. And
Nice.
now they're like one of the doctors she calls up and she says she knew about the body sculptor and that's the one that
Uh-huh.
can break up fascia. And she says, "Will it work with neuropathy?" And I said, "If it's fascia restriction, it will."
Yeah.
And so we give her some product to test, and she comes back and she's like, "The neuropathy's gone."
Nice.
And then she says, hey, I've got somebody with basically nerve damage and they've got ulcers. And
Okay.
she said, you're in skincare, she's like, you did wound care
Yeah.
and you do wound care. And I said, yeah, give me a couple of days and I'll make you some
Yeah,
wound.
yeah, that's where you started.
And so I made wound care for her, and she
Nice.
within a week those ulcers were gone.
Wow.
So I guess my point is we're going medical,
I love it.
and I'm sure there's going to be estheticians out there that, we still get spas and estheticians
Sure.
that are interested in doing it. And a lot of these doctors will be doing treatments inside of there, which, like, there's a guy local here he's an orthopedic surgeon.
Okay.
And I mean, I was the last guy I thought. In fact, he was at that first functional forum and he kind of gave me this weird look like, what are you talking about? And he wrote a letter to a doctor out in this guy that they were both at each other's weddings and I think they graduated together. And he wrote a letter to him saying, you should see these products. It changed my practice.
Wow.
And
I love that.
yeah, so I'm, I, it was just a stroke of luck that we ended up getting invited to this to go learn what doctors were doing. I had no
Yeah.
idea this was going to happen. And that's kind of where we're going at this point. And
Nice.
at some point, we'd like to have probably like KPS spas and those types of things so
All
we
right.
can, open the door to others and really help people and,
I
you know,
love it.
treat people right. We would have a very nice spa, at least in my vision. We'd have a very beautiful spa that we just open up to everybody.
I
So,
love it. I love it. Well, if you had one message to leave our guests with today, we've covered so many things, but underneath it all, what would you say would be your one thought you'd like to leave everybody here with?
I would say don't forget that your skin is your largest organ and treat it with respect because there are so many products out there that contain toxic chemicals that can harm you and not do good to your largest organ.
that's pretty cool. Put mine in there?
Yeah, absolutely. One each.
This is a total curveball. Watch your thoughts. Your thoughts have more effect on your body than you know. In fact, like we could probably do a whole nother podcast
Yeah,
on healing through thought.
I
And
would love to get into that with you because I'm right there with you. Yeah.
it's so, yeah,
You're
absolutely
spot on. You're spot on. Yeah.
your thoughts, because your thoughts can make you sick or they can heal you.
You are the medicine, really, when you get down to it.
Exactly. And what
100%.
we could do if you're ever interested in doing this, and I'm not trying to get on there again, but
Oh, no, I would love it.
there's so many interesting things that you can do through visualization to heal and
Yes, we could talk a
watch your
lot. I would
thoughts.
love to revisit and do that for sure.
We
Well, why
could.
don't you give our listeners once again how they can find you? Any contact information, anything you wanna share right now?
KPSessentials.com is the best way to reach out. If you are a practitioner and you want to reach us that way, you can go to kpswholesale.com.
Beautiful. Well, this has been a remarkable conversation. I really had no idea where we were going to go, but I could sit with you guys and talk for probably a very long time. I love what you guys have done. You've gone a few steps beyond some of the things I've done, but maybe in some ways tracked along on some similar lines. But I love it. I love that you've taken it to the people who need it and really reached a lot of people. And I love your vision and the values that you hold behind it. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you
Yeah,
for having
really
us, Joe. We
appreciate you. Yeah,
appreciate you.
thank you.
Well, this has been another episode of the Healthy Living Podcast. I'm your host, Joe Grumbine, and I want to thank all the listeners for making the show possible. And we will see you next time. This has been another episode of the Healthy Living Podcast. We produce this show so that people can share their stories, people that have overcome obstacles, people that are undergoing obstacles. We're building a community of health-minded individuals. If you're interested in supporting the show, please leave a review on the platform you're listening to it on. If you're interested in becoming a guest, please send an email to itsjoegrumbine@gmail.com, or you can send a note into the notes section of the podcast. All right. Well, thank you for supporting this show, and we hope you've enjoyed it.